big up New Orleans. 4 minutes past the top of the hour. She is Dr. Shanta White.
The one and only.
I am OT. Nyron is on the box. The early bird's still floating around somewhere, man, enjoying himself.
Trying to wake up.
Yeah, just trying to wake up, and we are your most reliable source of information. I was so proud. I got so many comments about how we broke down the incident that happened, but because it was unbelievable, Doc. First of all, thanks for setting the table there. And we talked about those two young women who lost their lives. So many people thought they were part of the incident that happened, and they weren't. They were innocent bystanders. So shout out to you. Shout out to what we do here, because people have clarity now.
Oh, yeah.
Though they were sad that the girls lost their life,
Absolutely.
those comments that were on online, the people who comment about the news about them, that's why they shouldn't have been part of the robbery or shouldn't be stealing stuff. They were not. Then their families should not have had to endure that.
On top of losing them.
They
were preparing for graduation.
So we got a big thank you from people who said, because they didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Jefferson Parish Public Schools, more namely West Jeff, still honors those girls in some way at graduation.
Yeah.
Because that is awful to prepare for, or in the process of preparing for your senior year and graduation and all of those things, that now you're talking about a funeral is unfathomable. I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? And then to add insult on top of that by allowing the media to misrepresent. Because to me, the article was written so that it was ambiguous enough to make those assumptions. I think the media should have done a better job of being clear that these babies were innocent in this whole entire incident.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just doing what kids should do, right?
Yeah.
You know, with their family, with their friends. And
driving in the car.
In the car, ran
just
into them. So thank you for all the folk who are listening out there. I shared with Dr. Wyatt that y'all appreciated the fact that we cleared that up.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, condolences to the families of those two young ladies, but I'm still being told that there's one person still trying to recover from this incident. So we hope that person makes a full and speedy recovery.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And happy holidays to everybody out there. All the December babies, guys. Again, happy birthday from us if you're celebrating an anniversary. All of that. And to my family members, we're going to lay to rest my cousin, my mother's sister's son, Michael Rawls. So that'll be 10 o'clock at Corpus Christi on Friday. And for Mike, man, Mike was always one of the quiet. My aunt had 12 children, and he was one of 6 boys.
And I also know you know of the family of the Cox, the man that worked for Cox too. Did you know his family?
I really
condolences to that family as well.
Yeah, and I talked about that. So someone, please come forward. If you know this man worked for Cox Cable, servant, doing his job, didn't deserve. No one deserves. But that act of violence. Hopefully, if someone knows something, they'll say something.
Yeah.
So we can get whoever that person is off the street.
Right. And then the juxtaposition to that is what we were talking about off air. There was a school shooting in Wisconsin that nobody or
there's no picture.
I think we just saw a picture of her yesterday, but guess what? It was a picture of her holding her dog. Yeah. She was holding her dog very lovingly. She's a domestic terrorist, and that's the picture that the media used.
Yeah.
She was holding up after she killed an adult and she killed a child at her school. Right? Because it's a mass shooting, because she shot multiple people, but those 2 people died. I don't hear the words mass shooting, domestic terrorism, any of those things associated with this shooting, but yet the rhetoric is far more bold and disparaging when we talk about other folk committing crimes. Why is that?
504-582-9422. How much more noticeable? You're really paying attention now, right? The one thing that you can be, whether you're anti-Trump, pro-Trump, it don't make no difference for you. The one thing this last year or so is brought to light what happens in the media.
Yes.
Right? How they pick and choose who's the villain.
Yep.
Who's not.
And based on relationships, the narrative is shaped in such a way to lean one way, right?
Right,
Because if we're
right,
talking about
right.
a friend of mine, I mean, she is so smart. We have conversations after the show every day,
Right.
and we were talking about this idea that everybody cares about crime. Like we talking about the shoplifter, right?
Right.
You're worried about crime, but you
Right.
voted for a 34-time convicted felon to run the country. So you can't. This can't really be a conversation about caring about crime, right? He committed
Yeah.
crimes against people.
Yeah.
Like he's alleged to have sexually assaulted women, right? He's committed the white collar crimes to the mass level. And we still don't see the rhetoric or the conversations around what he's done in a way that makes him undesirable for the position. But these young ladies were stealing from the mall, and you've maligned them in such a way that you're ready to give them the gas chamber, talk about crime, crime, crime. You can't be anti-crime and vote for a criminal.
Brainwashing and social conditioning.
Come on now, like this is not about crime.
Marketing, branding.
Yes, the
st-
shaping the narrative.
shaping, stereotyping
Mhm.
actually works. And I've said for decades, when a young African American kid is involved in a crime, whether they go before a black judge, a black DA, white DA,
Yep.
a white judge, based on the narrative, based on the portrayal, based on the images,
Mhm.
if the young black kid goes before them, they are the problem.
Mhm.
If a young white kid goes before the judge or the DA, they have a problem.
Mhm.
If you have a problem, if I fix that thing that causes you the problem, you can be okay. But if you are the problem,
There's an episode of The Good Wife that,
I have
because
to
I'm a
get rid of
TV
you.
fanatic, right? There's an
Yeah.
episode of The Good Wife that
Yeah.
people should go and watch, and it was all about this idea that judges and attorneys, the judicial system, they were working in tandem
Mm-hmm.
to lock up black boys, right? They were
Right.
getting kickbacks for locking them up,
In Kentucky.
and then
that
and
really
then
happened in Kentucky.
yeah, they pull stories
Biden
like
pardoned one of those judges.
and they were put like, so the attorney, the good wife, the attorney for the young black man that was convicted, he started to do an analysis of the data. He started to aggregate the data. He noticed that the black defendants were penalized more harshly. They were sentenced to longer sentences. The system was getting
Which
kickbacks for
studies
placing them in these
support.
private prisons.
Right.
And the young white boys or non-blacks were doing crimes that were similar. They were getting less harsh sentences, and they weren't being fed to this private institution. That's a real episode. They pull things from the headlines like Law and Order does.
Right.
But I don't think anything on TV now is anything that's made up. I think it's art imitating life on every level now.
Yeah. And so for our listening audience, have you guys noticed just how obvious
Yeah.
it is now? In that, even the local media, print media, right? They have their biases. They will cut stuff out of articles. They will add stuff that they want to articles. They will portray who they want to portray.
They pull the right soundbite.
Yeah,
They pull you. They pull you
or-
saying the one thing they need you to say
or
so
the-
it can go with the story they're writing.
Yeah,
we-
one of the
we've
things
seen it.
I try to do now is tape all my interviews. I'll have someone there taping it, and so I'm going to start doing that with my with print media too. Have someone there if you want to interview me. Just have someone there record it so that if nothing else, I can use social media, what we do, to release the full scope of the conversation.
And going back to the young ladies who unfortunately died in the crash, even the picture they used next to the headline made you think that this was the young lady who actually
Was part
stole
of it.
from
Was
Lakeside,
part of it.
because the heading was talking about the thief, but it was a picture of the victim. It was weird.
Yeah, but back to the young 15-year-old female. America has to protect certain images.
You saw her with her dog.
Yeah,
You remember when Trayvon was shot dead? They showed him smoking weed with a hoodie on.
with the hoodie on.
As the picture, and he was the victim, right? We saw when Kyle Rittenhouse went across state lines with a gun that his parents gave to him and shot those people. They used his high school
High school.
picture from the
High
yearbook.
school.
But our children die. Like, we're victims of killings, and they use the worst picture they can find, the most rough picture. Did you remember the picture from Michael? The picture they used for him, he looked like a
Oh, Mike
hoodlum.
Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pants was sagging.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He
Oh,
looked
yeah.
like a
And
hoodlum.
he was big.
Yeah.
burly.
It was crazy. Alton
Yeah.
Sterling, they tried to
Yeah.
show the picture with all the goals in his mouth, and these are all victims. But this young lady took a gun to school and shot up her school, and they're showing a picture of her holding her puppy.
Her puppy.
Yeah, and you don't think that's
what went wrong?
Mm. And that's when mental illness is going to come into
What-
the conversation. How
what-
overwhelmed her family
What
is
could
trying
have
to
caused this?
pay bills and
it's
keep their heads above water.
it's like the other Black History, the piece that I did that Dr. Flint Mitchell wrote that we
Mhm.
performed at Ashe a few years ago, where in it he talked about, crack was a criminal crisis, but fentanyl is a health epidemic.
Yes.
And that was years ago. I think that was maybe, 5 years
Yeah,
ago?
that
we did show?
conversation started too around
Yeah.
when the non-black folk were getting hooked on prescription drugs.
Yeah.
Then it became a health
It was a
crisis.
health crisis.
But there was a war on drugs
Yeah,
for our people. It
That was
a
the script.
war,
Actually, that was part of my monologue.
a war on
is
drugs,
that with
right?
crack, it was a war on drugs.
Yeah.
Now it's a
We
health,
had super
health
predators.
epidemic.
by folk who we thought actually was the family that cared about black people
Right.
that was in the White House, right?
Right.
They called
Yeah.
us super predators.
Super predators.
And I just want to know, like, are there levels to predatory behaviors? Because what qualifies it as a super predator behavior?
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, what's the rest of it? Like, how do we escalate to
being
super
the
predator?
problem and having a
So
problem.
it's insane.
And look, for our allies who are out there, if you're different races, wherever you come from, culture, if you're listening, these conversations are important because they can help all of us, right? We're all conditioned.
They all should be having a conversation.
We're all conditioned by those other forces. It's hard for me to believe sometimes something different from what my dad or mom told me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if you grow up
I don't
only being told that thing,
that thing,
you know,
right?
yeah.
I don't
You're
want to know that
conditioned to
big old
believe that
that
thing.
it was wrong.
yeah,
And I'm reluctant to admit it, even in the face of the facts. But
yeah.
there's a thing called enlightenment.
The facts are the facts. The math has to math, right?
What'd you say, Di?
Yeah, the facts are the facts. I mean,
the facts have to be.
because
the
when
facts.
you think about it, like if you are an ally, then you have to be able to call a thing, and push for accountability, just like the oppressed group is trying to push for accountability.
Right.
And that's why I don't buy into this whole idea of condoning criminalization or making excuses for people. What I do know is, by and large, our demographic of people will pay the price in the judicial system. So you don't have to call for that.
Oh yeah, you don't.
You
have
know
to
that's
guess on
going to
that.
happen. Like
Yeah.
it's not even that's no doubt about it. And like I said, the young lady who was doing the stealing, who chose to flee from the police, we know that she's going to have her day in court. She's going to go through that whole system, and I'm sure they're going to make her pay for it. But who else should pay? Where does the line of accountability start and stop?
Luigi Mangione
Mm-hmm.
is a cult hero. The guy who killed the what are the comments? He's so dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, his eyebrows are so sexy.
Well, like that's a whole different conversation for me, because I don't know if you follow my social media, but I don't believe anything that they're telling us as it relates to that situation. I mean, there are too many holes it's too neat, right? He just happens to be sitting in a fast food place eating a hash brown with the same backpack with all of the stuff inside the backpack, just sitting there, and he put this elaborate plot together to go and execute this man. And he's just gonna go have a hash brown and sit there and like wait to be identified. No, baby, that sounds like the plot out of a movie that I don't want to watch.
Well,
I don't
there's
believe
always my story, your story, and then
I don't
the
believe
truth
it.
and
I
another
don't
story.
believe it. And put that in the box with the grassy knoll and come back. I don't not believing it.
Doc said you can't wait until the files are opened on that one.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, back to Edna Carr in that program, Coach Bryce.
Are we going back to that?
Yeah, man.
The haters don't like
because
that.
I was watching. I was rewatching some of the stuff online, right?
Yeah.
Because I was listening to the game.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for the rally to kick it off,
Mm-hmm.
and I was listening to the game. I wanted to be there, and I called my cousin Jabbar
Mm-hmm.
and Jaluk, and Jabbar. Of course, they're getting ready for bowl game. They're going
Yes.
to play Tulane. So he was like, "Man, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there."
I was
So
there.
I was texting back because they were practicing. So I was texting back and forth with Jabbar to score. I'm like 20 something to nothing, 35
Mm-hmm.
to 7. You know, and so all he texted back. Now Jabbar Jaluk is assistant head coach at Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of in the bloodline of the
Former head coach
former
of Edna
head
Carr.
coach,
Yes.
state title.
Yes.
Oh, and he texts back, Only 2 words. They're elite.
Yeah, they are. And here's the thing. I wish that there was more of a collective appreciation for what that young man is doing over there
with Bryce.
At Nakar. I mean, because you got to think about it. If you don't understand the history of the program, they kept moving us up in class, thinking, "Oh, they won't be able to handle it here. They won't be able to handle it here. They won't be able to handle it here."
One in every
class. We were in 3A when I went to CAR. Now they're in the select division, and now it's
that is the story.
That's the story. You've put them everywhere.
They're one of the top programs in the nation.
We're nationally ranked number 26. Put some respect on our name. That's a bell.
Let me say this. Based on what I know about high school talent, there ain't no 26 teams that could beat
that's
that.
That's what they're saying. 26.
I can tell you that.
Here's the good part about it. He continues to reload. There were only 4 people who signed on National Signing Day. So most of the people who they're talking about in conversation with the elite players are not seniors.
Well,
you know what I mean?
All I can tell you is Coach Bryce, man, congratulations to
Big
the whole...
90 is not a senior yet. We get to have him again.
That little bitty baby. I was having so much fun watching them do the trip out, right?
Yeah. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. And again, like I said, when Warren Easton was in this position, I rooted for Warren Easton because that was the school representing New Orleans.
They were
and
doing
also,
good.
Jerry Phillips is an Edna Carr Cougar.
Yeah.
Noel Ellis is an Edna Carr Cougar. So you support who's there. And like I said, shout out to Shaw. They won.
Yeah.
Shout out to South Platte. They won as well. But I mean, I just wish there was more of a, because look like Alexandria bought they was picking people up on the way to the dome.
The whole city.
That whole side.
No,
the whole city was there.
But that part of the tradition has to grow, and that's why I tell people. You and I have talked about it before.
Yeah.
Man, go to the high school games. Man.
Yeah, the Nord games,
enjoy.
the park games.
Because
that's where the talent start. All those boys play park ball.
Yeah, I will give our folks some credit, man. I went to the Nord Super Bowl championships, right? we was out there.
That's an activity.
We was there. Yeah, it really ought to become some type of event.
Yes.
Because they were out there.
Those kids,
ain't no doubt about it. Well, look, I know we got a break. We got our council conversations with Councilmember Green. We're going to talk to the world according to Ashna, and then Jam Nola coming up on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
Our station.
Yes, it is our station. We'll be back.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK 12:30 a.m. and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. Yesterday's multi-car pileup on the causeway is coming into clearer focus this morning. We've learned 20 people were hurt, 11 of whom were transported to hospitals on the North Shore, and more than 50 cars were involved in 6 separate accidents. Officials say dense fog set in fast, causing those crashes and ultimately prompting the bridge to be shut down in both directions for several hours. More dense fog is in the forecast today, so slow down and don't drive distracted on your morning commute. Today, former New Orleans priest Lawrence Hecker will receive a mandatory life sentence. Earlier this month, Hecker pleaded guilty to rape and kidnapping charges ahead of his trial. The charges stem from crimes committed decades earlier. Pleading guilty means Hecker faces that mandatory life sentence. Then a precautionary boil water advisory remains in effect in the lower Ninth Ward. The Sewerage and Water Board says water pressure dropped in the area Tuesday morning, causing the advisory. Water pressure has been restored and water quality samples are now being tested. But this morning you need to boil your water for a full minute before using it. We will update you on WDSU.com when that advisory is lifted. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present the Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 minutes of LCMC Health, where doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of health care in the New Orleans area, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. Over the next few months, LCMC Health will join WBOK and local businesses to answer your health and wellness questions. Through this partnership, LCMC Health will provide resources to the community, including subject matter experts from the hospitals that will share expertise on health concerns and wellness practices to help you live your best life. Tune in to WBOK during the last hour of the reality check, or catch us at lcmchealth.org and follow us on social media.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 12:30 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
WBOK is pleased to announce the reboot of Crosstown Conversations with host Gene Nathan. A heightened focus on cultural entertainment events and the creators who present them. The new time is now Saturday at noon. Tune into the stories of our exploding creative scene with Gene Nathan on Crosstown Conversations.
We all love surprises, but not if it's the flu or COVID. If you're 65 or older, vaccines are your best defense against severe illness from these viruses. Risk less. Do more. Get started at vaccine.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Parents, are you looking for a school where your child can excel? Look no further than Inspire NOLA Schools, home of the highest performing open enrollment schools in New Orleans. At Inspire NOLA, we believe in nurturing every student's potential, providing an excellent education, and supporting their journey to success. Enroll today for the 2025-2026 school year. Visit enrollnolaps.com to get started and learn more about our schools and programs at inspirenolaschools.org. Join the Inspire NOLA family, where excellence is our standard.
This is your Saints Hall of Famer, Tyrone Hughes. Want to wish the whole WBOK audience happy holidays.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Back. Dr. Shanta White, A-Dub, O.T., Oliver Thomas, Nyron on the box, early bird out there somewhere in Birdland, right? But now we're back to our Conversations with Council series. Let's go to Councilmember Eugene Green. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Councilman Thomas. Good morning, Dr. White. It's
Good morning.
Good to talk to you all this morning. And I'm always pleased to have an opportunity to share with your listeners.
Well, first of all, man, how are you? How in the family during this holiday season? And you're looking forward to Santa Claus coming and going?
Everybody from the family is going to be in town. You know, I have 3 children. I have a daughter in medical school right now, but she'll be in town. So I'm looking forward to that holiday season. And it really has begun already. Even just yesterday, Councilman, the toy distribution at the Milne Recreation Center worked out so well. 600 toys distributed to young people and families. And then on yesterday, there have been a series of activities that have been great. In fact, multiple toy distributions, including one that was at the Desire Center recently. Nord is having one on this weekend. So the bottom line is that it's a good season already. And honestly, this is going to be a very big weekend. But I'm just pleased that a lot of a lot of good is going on, you know.
So what do you want Mama Claus to give you, Councilman? But before we get into this heavy agenda, what are you looking forward to for Christmas?
You want me to use one of those general things or what I ask my family for? I said, look,
I just want you to answer the question. That's
I want some, look, you want to be honest with you?
Yeah.
I want some new shoes. I want some new shoes because I've been wearing my shoes out terribly.
Okay.
And I actually want, for them, because they know my size, a couple of suits. So I know that they'll actually find that, and I'll go and get them measured up right now, I didn't ask much of them because I'm just glad, as I started off with, that all three of the children are going to be in town,
And let me say this,
well,
on WBOK, man, our listening audience listens because you remember, well, for Thanksgiving, I wanted oyster dressing,
Yes.
right? I got a few.
Half and half, yes.
I got the cornbread dressing.
Half a
and
cornbread.
And I got.
And I'm waiting to talk to Ashna about that at the 8 o'clock
and
hour.
I got the oyster dressing. So look, we hope you get your new shoes. As a matter of fact, I know you're going to get you some new shoes, man.
You know you're going to see some new shoes. Look at that first council meeting afterwards, and you'll see that I'm going to have on those new shoes. I know that they're going to do that. I'll have a new suit. And then, honestly, I'll be in pretty good condition. The other things are going to fall into place, but it's just a great season to have folks together,
Good. So tell us what's going on.
Well, I mean, of course, obviously the season is a good season, but Councilman, on the other hand, I mean, we continue to make progress in some respects. Boy, I sure hate to see the occasional serious crime or the murder that throws us off in terms of people recognizing that they still need to participate. But the bottom line is that we're having some good stories relative to the numbers reduction in crime. We have a lot that we have to do, and I'm pleased with that. On the other hand, Councilman, in my district, I've worked well with the Department of Code Enforcement and others to get some of these properties that have been blighted for so long removed from our communities. And as you see in my newsletter, it works well on a weekly basis that we're getting a property taken down, and the neighbors really appreciate it around them. Councilman, I've also, and Dr. Wyatt, I've also been going around to some churches that have been celebrating anniversaries. I've been to 200th anniversary. We don't talk about some of those churches that have been around, that have been doing things in the community for so long, like Greater New St. Luke Baptist Church recently celebrated their 100th anniversary. And it just reminds you of the religious foundation, the spiritual foundation that we have in our community, and also what people have persevered with. And, because they've certainly had a lot to overcome in the Ninth Ward in terms of storms and, of course, some of the racism issues back then when they were isolated. But right on Montague Street, 100 years, Greater New St. Luke Baptist Church, and I do applaud them and other churches that have celebrated their anniversaries and also just continue to do good things in our community. We have a couple of seniors who have celebrated 100th birthdays recently. I'm always glad to go to those activities. But I have an opportunity to participate in meetings that involve our community. There's a lot of people who are working hard to make changes in our community for the better, and I'm just pleased that that's something that's going on right now, the celebrations and also people participating in activities in our community meetings that I attend where people are getting certain things done even on their own. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so tell us about, man, everybody's talking about Dauman Road, man, and how quick, man, that's coming along. We've been talking about it for a long time, especially with access from the Lakefront Airport, but hey, man, this stuff's happening.
Councilman, it's no need to hide it. It's certainly spurred by a little bit of incentive relative to the Super Bowl coming. But, man, am I glad to see not only that, but also there's a stretch of Lincoln Beach Boulevard in my district. And for those who need to know, Hain Boulevard at the back of Pontchartrain Park was once Hain Boulevard. It's now Lincoln Beach Boulevard.
Yes, it is.
Due to the suggestions and of Councilman Thomas, and he and I working together on that. What a great name. It reminds us of the history of that entity, Lincoln Beach. But the bottom line is that street has been repaired, and it had been long overdue. We're talking about decades of a leak under the street that was finally taken care of. And look, we've been asking for it for a while. It's not a heavily trafficked thoroughfare, but it got done. So, but yes, Dauman Road, if you want to go and see some progress in the city, first off, in my newsletter, I highlight every week some street that we did finish. But go by and just see Dauman Road and see Know that we're also going to be talking to some of those businesses about code enforcement violations. I know that we have somebody who parks his cars illegally on his grass and also illegally on the streets in some respects. We see him. He's gotten a notice. We're going to take care of that. But I want people to know that Diamond Road's future is going to be better. And maybe this will be the incentive for some folks to say, look, let me look at Diamond Road. It's a heavily trafficked thoroughfare. It shouldn't have so many vacant businesses. Let me look at putting something else there and see if it works, because Diamond Road is a heavily trafficked thoroughfare. Now the street is going to look good. We do have a couple of businesses that have opened up just recently. Let's keep that momentum going.
So, Councilman, in terms of like this revitalization that's happening on Diamond Road and all across areas of the city, in terms of blight, are there any programs available to folk who want to like buy into properties that may be blighted, that the city could possibly like do something where you can revitalize those neighborhoods by making those properties available to the public?
The voters just approved by 75% a housing trust fund. Included within that housing trust fund is going to be resources, yes, available for rent, also available to create new homeowners, and also to support investors who decide that their property is going to be, if you will, at affordable rates. I just got to use the right expression for that. But they're going to rent their units at affordable prices. The bottom line is that, yes, there will be, and they should be on the lookout for the city's housing trust fund, which is going to be overseen by NORA and the Finance Authority in terms of its management, and make sure that they are ready to go into and potentially get some of the money that's going to be made available to enhance the properties that are out there right now so that they can be rented to people at affordable rates. So the answer is yes. But there's also this. I'll be very honest with you. We talk about the housing crisis in the city. I don't think that it's quite that way. I'm going to tell you very honestly, in the Ninth Ward, I see a number of units that are rented for lower prices than if you were in the Garden District or if you were in Marigny or places like that. I just want us to recognize that there is a need for housing in our city and that there are people who are lending. There are people who are lending money to rehabilitate homes. I don't want to mention a specific bank because then, very honestly, there are about 4 of them that I know of very well. But I encourage people to put the proposal together, and if you need to go and get assistance from SUNO or UNO, especially those public institutions that have grant writing and also proposal writing folks, get the proposal together and get it to a bank and look at that property that you've been sitting on for a while or that property that you want to rehabilitate. And there are opportunities out there, but there are going to be grants available through the Housing Trust Fund. Those details have to be worked out right now. And there are, in many respects, incentives for you to get the property fixed up because there's so many people looking for rental places that are decent.
So, Councilman, one of the things that we've talked about and that we've hoped for and worked to encourage is to get young African Americans involved in the development game on the development side, whether it's economic development or developing this housing market. How do we make sure that with this new housing trust fund, this public money, that it's not just the same people? And that was one of the, if there was a question about the trust fund, the question was, is it going to just help the same people economically who are dominating the development and building side and the investment side? How do we make sure that that money is available for everybody?
Councilman, one of the opportunities that I think that we have available as a council is the same kind of opportunity that we've made available in terms of getting disadvantaged business enterprises involved. We'll be involved with the details. NORA and the Finance Authority will come back to us with their proposal in terms of management, and then we need to put in place, if you will, some suggestions and some language that is going to encourage minority developers to get involved. One thing about this trust fund, it's not like a private bank, which is going to make it the decisions just based on strictly the bottom line. And I don't want anybody to say, oh, the bottom line doesn't matter. Yes, the bottom line matters, but at the end of the day, we can make some decisions that finance institutions may not be able to make because of their shareholders or because of some federal requirements and all. And I think that we do have an opportunity. I want to encourage African-American developers to recognize that in my area and others, I see folks who are doing things, whether it be the rehabilitation of the long vacant Dewdrop Inn, for example. That's an African-American investor. We have some young African-American investors who are investing in the Bywater area, for example. those opportunities exist. But I do know that many times the incentives go to the larger companies because of the way the federal government and the state especially have structured the way deals have to work. You have to do all kinds of different projects that you would be doing than if you were just developing it on your own. I think that we're going to be in a position to do something about it, and I look forward to working with us all together to make sure that that trust fund is available for folks who haven't participated in the past.
Well, good. I know the answer, but this is a question to you. I just want to make sure that our local developers, especially minority, or more specifically African American developers, that's a major pot of funds that are there, not just to subsidize people who've historically done it, but to make sure we get some new folk in the game. And that's one of America's challenges right now. How do we get in the development game? Thank you. We got a caller. Well, hold line 2. Gladys, you're on with Councilmember Green.
Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, thank you,
Gladys. My concern is about the quality of life and transportation through the Ninth Ward, the upper and Ninth Ward. We have a situation on Poland and Galvez that need a traffic light. I spoke to Mr. Green. I spoke to Mr. King about trying to get together to force the state to put a traffic light at Galvez and Poland.
Yeah.
The quality of life traveling through the upper and lower Ninth Ward for children waiting for the bus is kind of disheartening. Every day, twice a day, there's accident on Robinson and Claiborne because of the speed of the traffic on the state highway. I've talked to Candace Newell. She's willing to move forward with it, but she told me it's the state highway. It needs to be a coordinated effort between Eugene Green, Freddie King, and Oliver Thomas to do something about the situation on Poland between the Shepherd and Robinson. When that
you mean after she told you it's a state highway and she's a state official?
Well, that's what politicians do.
Right. So
they show one hand and knowing that it's different.
Right.
We need a coordinated effort for the traffic, the quality of life of traffic.
Yeah, you've been talking about that location for a while, Mr. Gladys. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But Councilman
Thomas,
I want our caller to recognize. Yeah. Oh, I'll wait till you finish. I want you to recognize.
I'm gonna say to both of you all.
Okay.
I'm gonna say to both of you all. That's a blind corner at Galvez and Poland.
Yeah.
But the traffic light is greater than the traffic light because they're about to expand the shipping capacity at Violet. The ships that can't pass underneath the Crescent City connection going to drop those containers at Violet. They're either going to be rail cars or trucks. The infrastructure along those arteries, either state or city, are not adequate for the ongoing traffic.
Well, I know where it is. I grew up in that area across the canal, so
yes.
and still drive that way to go down to our property. I agree. That whole turn on Poland that turns into that area, you gotta be able to drive when you coming over that overpass. So no, that whole area is of some concern. Go ahead, Councilmember Green. Can you respond, please?
Well, of course, Councilman Thomas, you've heard me say it before, and I'm going to say it again, but I want all of our listeners to recognize that he brought up an important point, that there is a state component to much of what happens in Louisiana. For example, or New Orleans, I'm sorry. The state of Louisiana has jurisdiction over Chef Highway, over Claiborne Avenue, over parts of St. Claude, over parts of Elysian Fields, under every overpass in the city of New Orleans where there are, for example, been encampments and the like, also on the tops. The bottom line is that we do have to push the state a little bit more, I think. The bottom line is that you can ask me, but tomorrow the city of New Orleans cannot go out and change the trajectory of a state highway, but we don't ask. There are some things that we have done. For example, Haines Boulevard used to be a state thoroughfare and the state wasn't really maintaining it at all. Well, we did a trade with them, and now that's a city thoroughfare. I'm giving an example of the fact that we never really put enough pressure on the state to get the things done that they have to get done. When we say that we've spoken to our representative, I ask, well, have we also written to the State Department of Transportation and Development and gone to a meeting? They actually have commissioners. For example, have we gone to a meeting? I don't want to make an excuse for it, but there are a lot of jobs that have to be done, including by the state. And interestingly enough, he mentioned the Port of New Orleans. As you drive along France Road, if you drive along Alvar and you see some of that blight that's on the side of the state area that is controlled by the Port of Louisiana, which is a state entity, there is a lot that needs to be done. That one thoroughfare is there. But I want to encourage all of our listeners, because when you call my office, one of the things that we do is, and I know that Councilman Thomas will tell you, is that we have jurisdictional concerns that we share with everyone, but we have to do something with them, including going to a meeting if necessary to get things done, having a public meeting and asking for it. I recognize certain concerns along Claiborne Avenue, but the city of New Orleans is somewhat limited. The entirety of Claiborne Avenue is a state thoroughfare. I will work with people to get those things done, but it's important to recognize that there are jurisdictional issues that we make clear to people.
Well, we're going to take a break. We're at that break, then we'll come back. We can finish with that, and I think we may have. Hopefully, it'll be a solution. And you and I and Dr. Wyatt will talk about that.
What I want to say. Let's not talk about the state highways. Let's talk about the city street.
Gotcha.
Colon is not.
We got a break.
Gladys, we got to go to break. This is a hard break. The producers we got to go to these commercials. But we're going to continue the conversation after this. You can hold. Can you put Gladys on hold if you want? And we'll be back after the break. WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking
Whose
about?
station?
Our station.
You know it's our station. We'll be back.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
It's a WDSU first warning weather impact day because of fog. We're under a dense fog advisory as visibility this morning will dip to less than a mile. After the fog clears, expect partly cloudy skies with highs in the mid-70s. A cold front moves in later. We could see a few showers with that. Lows for tonight dip into the low 50s and then highs for Thursday into the mid-60s. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Wherever we go, we never forget where we came from. The river parishes tell a story unlike any other. Join Rise St. James for Home for the Holidays, a celebration of our shared heritage, including the historic Orange Grove and Buena Vista plantations. Hear stories of resilience, connect with descendants, scholars, and community members. Preserve our legacy, honor our ancestors, build a sustainable future. Join the conversation at risestjames.org/holidays. Rise St. James. Together, we rise.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Hey, this is Norman Sanders with WBOK, letting you know to have a happy holiday.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
back. Oh, man, we got our council member Green conversations with the council back on. And we also have Mr. Gladys back on. Council member, during the break, I was thinking about a possible solution. Maybe we should have that area looked at by the Regional Planning Commission. They would bring all of the different entities involved when you talk about traffic, pedestrian, lighting, traffic engineering. So let's you and I get together to maybe we can do a request through the administration to Rick Hathaway to see if the Regional Planning Commission will actually take up and take a look. Because some of the stuff Gladys said about growth and potentially what will happen when they do that deep water container port is absolutely real. So I think we have to begin to reimagine that area.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Go ahead, Gladys, so we can let you go. Go ahead.
Oh yes, I appreciate your kindness. No disrespect to either one of you all, but we always come when election time comes. Why people don't get out to vote? Our politicians not transparent. If you tell the honest man this is the fight that I'm against, even though no matter how it tastes, they could accept the truth.
Right.
Young people are very discouraged of present politicians.
Yes, that's a fact.
I walk the neighborhood because, like I say, I'm a community person. I want to improve the quality of traffic light in our area. And I tell most young people, I'm 7 years old. I'm trying to encourage you to be in a fight or to wrestle. When you talk about state, at one time they had authority between the state of Louisiana and an insurance commission to improve the quality of life pertaining to traffic infrastructure, flashing lights, signs, all the infrastructure to make the quality of life in communities improve. And just recently, the legislature did away with that authority. So if you have a state person come on, state senator or representative, please ask them to come on and explain why did they deal with something that would really work.
Thank you, Gladys. No, you're right. We will do that. That's a good thought.
Right. But
Gladys, we got to move to close out the council.
Oh, yes. I appreciate your time, sir.
All right, appreciate you, man.
Right.
Happy holidays,
Thank
you and your family. Yeah, Mr. Gladys has been talking about that issue. He's even raised it in a meeting in the Upper Ninth. Yeah.
Well, no, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with it. I'm also familiar, for example, we just got lights under Claiborne Avenue after all these years. It was a state thoroughfare, and we worked on it. There are issues that we have to work on. Look, I don't want to defer to anybody, but I also do want to say this. I want to encourage members of the community to get involved. In my district, very honestly, we've had multiple meetings, multiple community meetings. Even the mayor has had a budget committee meeting there where 300 people were in attendance. We've had a variety of community meetings where people have actually come and expressed their concerns. I don't see a lot of these concerns expressed in writing. But, Councilman, at the end of the day, it's state, federal, and local. We try to share.
Let me ask you this, Councilman.
I want to encourage people to get involved.
Let me ask you this: as a person who, I'm sort of over the meetings, right? I think to the caller's point, if I'm expressing it to my local council, is that not something that the council can put in writing on behalf of the constituent that came to you with the concern, or is the onus only on the constituent to then write to the next level of government? Then what is my purpose for coming to talk to you about it? Because I think a letter from my councilman or my council as a whole holds more weight than just a layperson or just a voter or a taxpayer sending a letter to the next entity. Like, is there something the council can do on behalf of his concern for the safety of the entire city in terms of that thoroughfare?
We can ask. To be very honest with you, we ask all the time. Claiborne Avenue, St. Claude Avenue, Councilman Thomas knows in terms of state thoroughfares, we ask. At the end of the day, I have concerns on Bartholomew Street in the Ninth Ward. I have concerns on other streets in the Ninth Ward. We are doing a lot of work on city streets. We have done tremendous work in terms of traffic safety and the like on city streets. Now, of course, I have a newsletter. I get it out to people each week. I feature something positive that has gone on relative to street work because it's very difficult. But we can't also ignore the fact that there has to be some participation sometimes on a higher level when there are jurisdictional issues. We don't have people show up at committee meetings on a state level.
Yeah. So Councilman, that's why the recommendation that maybe if we can get the regional
That's a great
planning,
recommendation.
I think
Right.
get the regional planning commission, because I think what Gladys is saying, what Dr. White is saying, is that it's not a new issue, right?
No.
So how do we at least say it can't be done, or the fact that all those parties come together and given the responsibility of regional planning and the evolution of that area and where it's going, I think Gladys was right. If those things happen to downriver, you're going to see a whole nother a level of expanded activity around that area, which will be even more traffic. So let's I
have one more
let's
question.
make a request to the Regional Planning Commission.
And that's a very valuable suggestion. And when they have their community meetings, which
Yeah.
they have to have as part of regional planning, we have to have attendance.
Gotcha.
I have one more question. And how does the state or the city or whomever, how do they determine which part of a street belongs to the state and which part belongs to the city? Because
It's a map. It's a map.
I'm just trying to
It's
figure it out. Like
there.
for me, right? I'm trying to understand it because where Harney sits, I was the principal there.
Yeah.
The same issues that the caller had, I had as the principal of Harney. But if you go down a few blocks where Trinity is, they're not experiencing the same thing that I'm experiencing in terms of not getting lights, not getting flashing lights, slow down signs.
Great question, though.
So I'm just trying to figure out, is it who determines where the state
There are 3 levels.
thoroughfare goes
Yeah.
and where the city?
There are 3 levels.
Oh, it's 3 levels.
The federal government numbers and
Okay.
declares.
Federal government has jurisdiction, too.
They'll number. Then the state will declare and numbers those that are important to the state. in
So
terms of
here's my
transport.
question:
And then
if
the city
Harney and
names.
Trinity flip real estate,
Right.
would Trinity still have a problem getting those lights and signs up in front of Trinity if they switch
have
real
compl-
estate?
I
I'm
have
just
complaints.
asking the questions that I would want to know, right? Because
Great
it
question.
seems
I'll give you
even
an
the
answer.
community councilman
Great question.
knows not to speed in front of Trinity, but they do 75 in front of Harney.
Great question. The difference.
And it's a very
That's a good question. The difference is, Dr. Wyatt, is that with Trinity, with Jackson Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have to bring. The city made a decision. We're going to make sure we protect that area. We're going to make sure its relationship to the Lower Garden District, its relationship to going towards the river, and its proximity to Britannia and St. Charles Avenue. So the great point you have that city traffic control
Yes.
and public works should have the same level of advocacy.
That's all we're asking.
And Dr. Wyatt's point about South Claiborne is extremely important, Councilmember Green, because there are more traffic accidents in terms of fatalities in the last several years there than probably much of the other parts of the community combined. But no, absolutely no, absolutely. But there are 3 different levels in terms
I
of
also
naming.
need to bring this up. That there
local
was
traffic.
actually a fatality just this weekend, unfortunately. A woman who was going across the street at Claiborne and Martin Luther King was hit by a car.
Which is a block and a half away from Harney, right? So like that's
But
what I'm saying, and regular folk notice the disparity. They just don't know how to address it. So I'm just trying to figure out, as the school leader, the former school leader there, and credit to the former council person who was in the seat, he did everything he could do to help me. He sent police out.
Yeah.
They were giving out tickets, but we fought tooth and nail to just get signage that makes you remember that there are babies that go to school here, even though there's another school with smaller babies on the other side of the street.
That's a dangerous
At
area.
Macmillan. There's no reason why you should be doing 75 miles per hour in that stretch of Claiborne, but then you innately slow down 2.5 blocks up the street.
Well, the good thing that's come out of this is that the Councilmember Green and I can approach collectively the Regional Planning
Do something.
Commission to take a look at that. Absolutely. So that's the good thing about what we do here in the Good Morning Show. Councilmember, you got 30 seconds left, man. I know you got to go. So what you going to leave us with?
Well, I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. And certainly let's look forward to everyone having a very successful and happy and prosperous 2025. I want to emphasize to folks that there's a lot of good that's going on in the city. Just as yesterday, we had organizations come together and distribute toys. We've had other organizations such as, radio stations and all have been involved with some of the distributions of toys and working with people. But look, I'm pleased to have raised my 3 children right here in the city of New Orleans. They're college graduates on their way to graduate school. They enjoy the city of New Orleans. I wish that some of the challenges that we have, we don't have. But I will tell you, as somebody who's raised 3 children in the same house, in the same neighborhood for the last 35 years, I've seen progress in the right places. We have so much more to do, and I want to encourage everybody to recognize that as a son of this city, I am pleased to be able to support our efforts at any time to enhance the quality of life call my office, and you always get somebody to work with. And sometimes my work is to be realistic and tell you this is where we need to go next.
Well, you have a great staff, people, man. Thank you for your advocacy, and God bless you and your family. Thank you for being so accessible here to our listening audience. And Mr. Gladys, man, thank you for calling. We appreciate you. Look forward to talking to you again, Councilman.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, too. And thank
Happy
you, Dr.
holidays,
White,
Councilman.
Hey, WBOK 1230 a.m.
Good New Orleans is talking
station?
about our station.
Yeah, your station again. We'll be back after the break.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Honda and Nissan are reportedly considering a merger to better compete in the EV market, potentially forming one of the world's largest auto groups with Mitsubishi. Nissan is Mitsubishi's top shareholder. A candlelight vigil was held in Madison, Wisconsin to honor the victims of Monday's shooting at Abundant Life Christian School, where a teacher and student were killed. The shooter, a 15-year-old girl, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The motive is still unknown. Pope Francis reveals in his upcoming autobiography, Hope, that there were 2 assassination attempts during his 2021 trip to Iraq. Iraqi security forces intercepted the attackers. This visit was the first by a pontiff to Iraq. And Beverly Hills Cop, Spy Kids, and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan are among 25 movies added to the National Film Registry this year, joining a list of around 900 films. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a huge congratulations to all of our educators, students, and families of New Orleans for their continuous academic growth. School performance scores have been released from the state. For the first time in many years, there are no failing schools in New Orleans Public Schools. As a district, our performance increased by 4 points. In addition, Orleans Parish now exceeds pre-COVID school performance score for all students by 6.2 points. When you see a teacher, school leader, or student, be sure to show them some love.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Back. WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
Yeah, all day long. I want to get back to a topic we threw out there, right? For our listening audience. Help us out, right? There are 2 things that I really want to know how people feel. Because it's evident from the election, and especially given away some of the numbers that tweak from different parts of the community, that people bought into certain messages, right? So Gladys just said how people feel about elected officials, right? And that's true. You know, they don't really believe, in many cases, they're truthful, transparent. They're just saying what they need to say to get to the next thing they need to say, right? But how do you really feel about the media and the Justice Department and the FBI now? So some would say, because one of my cousins called me, right? It was last year, I'll never forget, after Trump started blasting the FBI and the Justice Department. And he was like, he's someone who went through the system, right? So he was like, hey, man, they've been getting us on trumped up charges, or bogus charges. You ain't got to tell us that the justice ain't about justice.
Right.
Because what Richard Pryor say? Just us.
Yes, that's it.
Not justice.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're seeing this come front and center from Republicans in many cases, who were famous for sicking the Justice Department on people, but now that they're saying the justice is unjust, how do y'all feel, right? And the media. We know the media has always been biased in terms of how they portray the news. So 504-582-9422. What do y'all think about it?
Listen, we know in our community that we can't depend on it because, I mean, J. Edgar Hoover's name is listed
COINTELPRO.
So we know that there was never a place where we fit, right? But those sort of folk don't push back against those types of systems until those systems come for them. And then now all of a sudden we don't need these systems. They don't work. They're crooked. And for me, that's how I know the conversations around crime are disingenuous. Because you can't on the one hand say law and order, and then people break the law and you look for every reason to circumvent it because it's somebody you like or somebody you voted for. I think it's all self-serving, and I think this election showed us that, like, folk, because what I guess, let me be clear here. What I find disturbing about our community, right? There could be 10 things on the list that we have to have, and somebody will give us 9 of them, and we will still buck on that one, right?
Right.
Well, the other side will be like, he checked 3 boxes. Like,
Check
let's
3. Right.
Let's go with this. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's the difference. I don't even know how many boxes this man checked for them. All the box that they needed was that he don't like this demographic of people. He's going to create laws and policies to continue to oppress this demographic of people, and that's enough for me to vote for him.
So I'm going to give COINTELPRO, when you mentioned J. Edgar Hoover, it's so convenient how we forget that history, right? Which was the entire division of the FBI. You weren't even born.
Wasn't even, but I like to look. I like to know stuff, Oliver.
An entire division of the FBI that was funded with millions of dollars, right? It is a syllabic abbreviation derived from counterintelligence program. It was a series of covert and illegal projects conducted for almost 20 years to the 70s by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting,
and killing our leaders,
disrupting American political organizations perceived by the FBI as subversives. The groups were the Communist Party, the anti-Vietnam War organizers, civil rights group, Black Power movement groups, the Nation of Islam, the Black Panther Party, and the American.
But no KKK.
The American. No KKK.
No KKK.
And lastly, some divisions of the KKK,
Yeah,
the National Rights Party, the Young Lords, the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, the Brown Berets, the United Farm Workers, even.
So I would like somebody to show me where those some forms of the KKK where they ever infiltrated, because we know. They can say all of that pretty language on paper, but it was really to get next to people who were trying to create unity around poverty, right? Because because unifying around color didn't really work, right? When you started thinking about what do we have in common that we could collectively push for, and it was poverty. It was people who were living below the poverty line, and you don't want all poor people to unite. So this was about infiltrating and dismantling and killing people who galvanize the masses.
And for folk who are listening out there, COINTELPRO existed for years on an ad hoc basis, right? On an ad hoc basis.
Funded by the government.
Before formal programs were instituted, and more significantly, COINTELPRO type of activities continue today.
To this day, absolutely.
Line number 1, Sean, you're on with Dr. Wyatt, no T.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, man, I was just listening to the council, and the representative, what he was saying is make a lot of sense. And even piggybacking on the subject that you guys are on, it's unfortunate, man, that the resources and the manpower that some Black representatives get is sometimes not in their their reach where they can make certain things happen that we need to happen. And most times they get the worst of the brunt and the blame because it's their leadership. But at the same time, we're looking at other situations like other areas, and we're saying, well, why these areas are so much better and different things like that. But maybe sometimes those areas are getting more resources, financially and other ways, and they may have a white representative, and it seems like everything is going better over there. And you're looking at your black representative saying, hey, why is it not like that over here? But maybe the resources not put the same equally as it is.
I think that's what Dr. Wild
maybe
was
this
saying.
other representative is. So I'm normally not the one to, just want to help up for, some representatives that may or may not be doing their job. But it's good for people to acknowledge and realize that in a lot of situations, especially black folk, you're put in the toughest situation, and we as constituents are dependent on them to get us out of that situation. And when they don't have the resources to really do it, and now we're mad at these black leaders, but sometimes we got to take that into account. But however, the one thing that I want our black leaders to do is what the brother said, that, hey, look, here's some responsibilities on the state, and they're not doing their job. Call these folk out.
Right.
Call, I don't care if they got to call some kind of news meeting and get together and say, look, we have certain state departments and that runs this place, call them out by name, and have these things broadcasted so we'll know that we're together and not just mentioning who not doing their job, but call them out by name and make it a big deal. And that's what we have to do.
Thank you, Sean. And always, brother, man, happy holiday, and thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to James in a minute. Great point. This is the other part. It says, beginning in 1969, leaders of the Black Panther Party and other activist groups were targeted by COINTELPRO and targeted in a way, and you said it, to be neutralized, assassinated. What? Our government?
Yes, absolutely.
Imprisoned, publicly humiliated, charged with false crimes. This list included Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, Zaid Shakur, Geronimo Pratt, Mumia Abu Jamal, Marshall Conway, and that there were common tactics that were used were perjury, witness harassment by government, witness intimidation.
And then you have to think about it. At that time, the Black Panther Party was what? Feeding communities, creating libraries so that they can read. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything that they were doing against government. All they were doing was trying to exemplify the need that the community, the gap, the community, and filling it. So that tells you what this was really about.
J. Edgar Hoover said the effort was to expose, disrupt, misdirect.
And this is the man's name we have on our judicial buildings.
Discredit and to otherwise neutralize the movement and especially the leaders.
He should have been neutralized.
Number 2, Mr. James. Wow. I was just reading from the FBI manifesto.
You just thinking out loud, OT, bro. Good morning.
Good
morning. I just be thinking too, bro. I'm gonna go ahead on the shit. I'm gonna hit y'all with this one, though, and I'm gonna back on out the room. They calling that boy a terrorist now, huh? The one that killed the United Health CEO because he was standing up for the rights and the injustices against the American public. So now he's a terrorist.
Yeah. I saw that label. Right.
Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
It's listen, sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying, right? Because, again, language matters, right? It matters what you say.
And you would know.
Absolute language matters. And if he's a terrorist, then the little white girl out there in Wisconsin is a terrorist, right? She took a gun into her school and she shot up a school full of innocent people, right? Why is she not a terrorist? Why is Kyle Rittenhouse not a terrorist? Like, why is George Zimmerman not a terrorist? The police told him don't follow that child. Like, that's domestic terrorism.
James, and I tell
Think
people,
about the fear on Trayvon Martin when he knew somebody was following him and stalking him. That's terrorism.
God doesn't make any mistakes, and there's a spiritual component to what we do. Guess what the next paragraph is in this commentary?
J. Edgar Hoover was a terrorist? Oh.
In the mid-'60s, Martin Luther King began to criticize the Bureau for giving insufficient attention to the use of the word terrorism and not attaching it to white supremacists and people who fostered racism.
Yeah. White supremacy is domestic terrorism. It's national terrorism.
So in
it's
the 60s,
terrorism.
King said, why are you not attaching that word to them?
That's it. And
James, are you listening?
Even when we talk about the language of a mass shooting, they're not even calling the school shooting a mass shooting. And she shot several people, more than 10. She just happened to kill 2. And you're not talking about it in a sense. And then you put her with a picture of holding her puppy as if we care that she owns a dog. But if you killed 2-3 dogs, I guarantee you somebody from PETA will have you put before all sorts of judicial entities to get you incarcerated, because you could do to dog. You can't do to dogs what you could do to black folk in this country. And that's just where I'm at with it. I don't understand how anybody could put J. Edgar Hoover's name on any building and have the word justice attached to it.
There was a recommendation by historian Taylor Branch when anonymous documents that were sent to King called the suicide package, telling him that he should probably kill himself before tapes and conversations of his indiscretions would be released. So, hey, bruh, go ahead and kill yourself, and we won't release what we have on you.
Listen, I believe that if we talk about, if we talk about the things people can release on people, we wouldn't have a government. You know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't have a government. From the top down, all these folk have clauses that they don't want us to open and see what's in them, because at the end of the day, all of them backdoor dealing, selling out community to enrich themselves. As a public servant, when you live so much more far and beyond your constituents, something about that equation does not add up. There's no reason why. That's why you don't care about the price of eggs, because that's not a worry of yours.
The Central Intelligence.
None of this goes together. I feel like we living in a alternate universe or something.
The Central Intelligence Agency, the National Security, NSA, and the Department of Defense, which you think should be involved in protecting our domestic freedom around the world, launched their own domestic espionage program in 1967 called Operation Chaos. So the CIA, the NSA, and the Department of Defense, right?
All of the
with Russia and communism and all that stuff out of there, launched a domestic
against their own.
The target was the Poor People's Campaign.
That's why Russia laughs at us. Like, really, that's why
the target was the poor people, those people in the country fighting for poor people.
Yes,
was
that's
the
what you
target
watching.
Of the CIA, the NSA, and the Defense Department.
Why do you think that they got the leader of Russia to come out and pretend that he was supporting Kamala Harris? We knew that wasn't what he was doing, but he came out and said that, right? All of this is a sleight of hand. All of this.
There was also an effort to not only destroy King, but the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
It didn't take much.
And the effort of to destroy the Black Panther Party from inside out.
Well, that's what they did with the assassination of Martin Luther King. That was inside out. You hear a shot at everybody pointing. Y'all know where the shot came from? And then he don't die on the porch. He don't die on the porch. So how you let them kill him in the hospital? He should have been surrounded by 1,000,001 black folk at that hospital. Everybody should have been watching what was going on. Don't let no doctor come close to him, no nurse come close to him unless we got eyes on him. Well, that's how we know that was from the inside out. Everybody wanted to be the king. Everybody wanted to be the chief. They had to get the king out the way first. So, I mean, that's why I don't put nothing past the government. I don't put anything past the government. You can't tell me anything, because they could create whatever narrative they want.
So from 1956,
whatever issue that they want.
1956 to the 70s, almost a 20-year
to 2024, to this moment we sitting there right now.
And the other part of the article said many of those programs still exist today. And what did Byron Allen say? Dismiss, discredit, demonize, and destroy.
Because here's the thing, Oliver. If you are a leader of people, right? If you're a Martin Luther King of this world, a Malcolm X of this world, and something happens to you, think that we should let them transport you somewhere and there's not a bunch of us watching, making certain that the kind of care you're going to render to him is not going to kill him? I don't buy it. I'm sorry. That's just not, you can't sell me that. Just like you can't sell me that Mario and Luigi was sitting in no fast food place eating no hash brown waiting to be caught.
And there was a 6-point plan for the FBI and Justice Department. The 6-point plan was to create a negative image, a public image, create a negative public image, break down the internal organization by creating conflicts.
Sending you a Judas.
By creating conflicts, creating racial tension.
Like they do at the protests, right? Well, you're out there protesting for Black lives. They send an agent to come in there and act like people are burning buildings and hurting properties and stuff.
Create a negative public image. Yes. Create racial tension. 3, create dissension between the groups. 4, restrict access to public resources.
Well, number 4 is important because they bring people in the room and they say, you don't have to be the leader. Why are you not the leader? You have more charisma than him. Like, we just need you to help us get him out the way, then you could be the leader.
5, restrict the ability to organize. 6.
Oh, wait, hold up. 5, restrict the ability to organize. See that law that we have, huh? You run over the protester.
Right. 6, restrict the ability of individuals to participate. By, if not limited to, assassinations, false arrests, and surveillance.
Don't you see that happening in present day?
Wow, we got a break, guys.
Do we?
And WBOK, 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
Our station.
Damn right. We'll be back after the break.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. Yesterday's multi-car pileup on the causeway is coming into clear focus this morning. We've learned 20 people were hurt, 11 of whom were transported to hospitals on the North Shore, and more than 50 cars were involved in 6 separate accidents. Officials say dense fog set in fast, causing those crashes and ultimately prompting the bridge to be shut down in both directions for several hours. More dense fog is in the forecast today, so slow down and don't drive distracted on your morning commute. Today, former New Orleans priest Lawrence Hecker will receive a mandatory life sentence. Earlier this month, Hecker pleaded guilty to rape and kidnapping charges ahead of his trial. The charges stem from crimes committed decades earlier. Pleading guilty means Hecker faces that mandatory life sentence. Then a precautionary boil water advisory remains in effect in the lower Ninth Ward. The Sewerage and Water Board says water pressure dropped in the area Tuesday morning, causing the advisory. Water pressure has been restored and water quality samples are now being tested. But this morning you need to boil your water for a full minute before using it. We will update you on WDSU.com when that advisory is lifted. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Join the conversation Friday, December 20th for Calvin Luster from Home Bank during the Good Morning Show at 8:30 a.m. Don't miss Calvin Luster from Home Bank live on the Good Morning Show Friday, December 20th at 8:30 a.m.
This holiday season, are you looking for the perfect phones and accessories for your family? Stop by the only black-owned AT&T franchise in the Gulf Coast region, located at 3616 South Carrollton Ave. We also have great offers on watches and tablets. When you add a new line or upgrade whatever your needs, our team is here to help you find the perfect phone for everyone on your list. Visit us at 3616 South Carrollton Ave. Happy holidays from your local family-owned AT&T store.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
This is Norman Robinson off the top. Happy holidays. Be safe and keep it festive.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 a.m.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 a.m.
We are back. Man, WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Man, we're going to roll right into Jam. No Love, man. Introduce yourself, man. Tell us about Jam Nola. And first of all, how you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm a morning person, too, just like you all are.
We discussed it. We be so hyped in the morning. People would tell us, will y'all calm down, please?
I get excited. I get excited as the day goes on. My name is Johnny Liss, and I'm the co-founder of Jam Nola.
Right.
And we opened, Jam Nola stands for Joy, Art, Music, New Orleans. And we, crazy enough, we opened 4 years ago in the middle of the pandemic with no tourism. We're this crazy, we've become New Orleans cultural funhouse.
So what's the mission of Jam Nola?
Our mission is simple, to bring joy through large doses of music and art and support the cultural economy of our city.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
so talk about how did it get started? What was the reason and the motivation?
Oh, that's a good question. So I was always the guy at Jazz Fest back like in the 90s.
Johnny Liss, y'all.
I was the guy at Jazz Fest back in the 90s who would take a little smiley face sticker and put it on you, and I just run around and do all that. And then back when 9/11 happened, I came up with this idea called Laughing Class. I'm always about positive energy and making people happy and bringing joy. And
Johnny, we can attest to that. You fit right in with us here.
And so I came up with this idea called Laughing Class. I never really followed it through in the way I wanted to. And we were like trying to figure out, how do we do, these immersive museums were starting to happen around the country, like Meow Wolf. There's something called the Museum of Ice Cream in San Francisco. And so my partner and I, we came up with this idea of, we were at the Museum of Ice Cream, and it's a little frivolous. You can stand with the gummy bears and ride the unicorns and that kind of thing. But like the light bulb went off in my head that in New Orleans we could actually do something immersive and experiential with large doses of music and art. And we partnered with Kat Todd and Colin Ferguson of Where Your Art Works, this amazing creative agency. And then together we sought out the most diverse, incredible group of artists you could ever imagine to create 17 exhibits with 30 local artists and culture bearers. And we went to do all that in February 2020, and of course the pandemic hit. I mean, we signed all these artists, right when the pandemic hit. We weren't really sure what to do. We just knew we needed to pay the artists and let them continue with the project. And we decided to create this Museum of the New Normal.
So talk to us about the new location.
Oh, this is the first time I'm talking about it to anybody. So,
wait. Breaking news.
Breaking news. So So we're in Noka. We're in a Noka building. There are landlords. It was a great place to start, but it was never big enough, and we wanted something permanent. So after a lot of attempts, we got an SBA loan. And we purchased the old Binder Bakery, which used to have like a little siren above it, right across from Loretta's Pralines.
Yes.
And you used to pick up your po' boy bread there, and there'd be like a line of people outside. And so we bought the bakery, and we've been in this crazy renovation with like every obstacle you could. I'm going to go to City Hall right after this because I need
Good luck.
one more permit. So, and
I'm gonna pray for you.
And by the way, the good news is everyone, when you see Jam Nola, when you see Jam Nola, people get or experience us. You get a passion for us, and everyone wants to help support us. So we're opening at the end of January. It's going to be 21 new installations, and to give you a little teaser, you're going to go down into a drain, a storm drain, and then up into the belly of a giant alligator. So it's like an insane experience, and it's a whole New Orleans story this time. So it's 21 exhibits, but there's a storyline.
As a matter of fact, you can have some WBOK coupons. People.
I do. By the way, if you want to get to Jam Nola before January 6th, well, actually, come down before Christmas. Use the coupon code at jamnola.com. That is WBOK, and you'll get 20% off, even of a locals ticket. I think that I calculated this morning on my drive. $12.80 you can get a Jam Nola ticket for. But please come down and see what we created and support the cultural economy. Every dollar, from $1 from every ticket we sell in the month of December is going to go toward the music and oh my God, I always have a tongue twister for me.
That's all right.
Musician and arts, musician. MACNO, it's MACNO. Musician, it's Music and Culture Coalition of New Orleans.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
It's always a tongue twister for me.
MACNO.
But come down. So get a ticket. Come down. Use the code WBOK and support MACNO for the month of December.
That's amazing. And so when you talk about, because I told you I had a ticket to Jam Nola.
Yes.
And I don't know, something happened, the weather happened, but they were so accommodating. They
Yes.
were like, just bring it and you can come. And I haven't made it. So I'm excited to see what's going on. I'm excited that there's a WBOK ticket. But I also want to, can you talk to us about some of the exhibits that we'll see there?
Yeah, well, the thing we're most famous for is
not just the drain with the alligator.
well, that's
you
the new
walked
place.
around.
That's
Yeah,
the new
okay,
place.
all right.
And the one that's there today, the thing we're most famous for on social media is popping out of the crawfish pot.
Yes. Yes.
So where you actually come out and you're in it's
And
called
the
the
pic-
joy
it's a
of
nice
crawfish.
picture.
There's a big crawfish right
Yep.
there. It's a little fun and scary. For me, the one that gets me every time is the Feather Forest because it's a real wow. It's a salute to the importance of feathers in all things New Orleans, from a
Yes.
black mask and Indian suit to what I might create for myself on Mardi Gras. You go into all on a Mardi Gras day. It's a an exhibit dedicated to the memory of Royce Osborne, who created that beautiful documentary in 2003. And we have some of the 79ers gang music I was just telling you on top of it. And you'll learn all about Carnival with baby dolls and second lines and skeletons and Indians. And oh my God, there's a room called Spirit Trees where you actually can write down a wish or a dream, and I think it'll come true. And a room called the Garden of Legends that salutes some music legends of New Orleans, past, present, and future.
So what makes the final period at the Royal Street location so special? And why should people visit before December 31st?
Because nothing's going to be the same. Everything's going to be different. We have all new artists, an incredible group of artists. So if you want to, see the creations of these amazing local artists that they did in the current Jam Nola, you got to come down and see it.
Can you talk to us
everything's
about some of those
changing.
local artists?
Oh, I would love to. So it's all about the artists, right?
Yes.
So we have Courtney Buckley, amazing artist, did our largest piece there. We've got Noah Church did a piece there. Jeremy Payton did a beautiful piece called The Wacky World of Food. We've got the Milagros Collective did this beautiful piece called Spirit Trees. We've got... oh my goodness! We've got Brianna Thompson did something called Nostalgia. It's the memory of her family. She took photos, painted them on watercolors, and then you hear her family's voices talking about the wheelbarrow rides and the parties in the backyard. And we've got an exhibit called Adinkra Hene by Marcus Brown. It's like a sound shield that you can actually play the music on. A lot of crazy stuff.
Wow, Jam Nola, man.
and you learn something.
Hey, ain't nothing like Johnny List with Jam Nola. He said you can't touch this. Hey, enjoy cultural heaven, not bliss.
Listen, I Jam Nola was. I'm telling you, when I first saw it, I wanted to go to it. Just.
Thank you.
I love museums. I love interactive things. I think in California, I was in California, and there's a Tupac exhibit there. And when you were talking about, like, you can hear. That's one of the best things about the Tupac exhibit. Like, you can put headphones on and they're playing live, like the interviews. You can hear his voice. You can see his notebooks with his own writing on it. I'm a huge Tupac fan, so I got lost in there.
Yeah.
And I think anything that highlights what is naturally New Orleans for me,
absolutely,
will pull at my heartstrings. So I'm excited to see what's going on there.
And that to staying on that train of thought, Dr. Wyatt, is that the emphasizing local artists, right? The local culture.
It's all about, man.
You know, there are many historians right now that post-Katrina and even post-COVID and looking at gentrified New Orleans, it's not just replacing people. They fear that the culture is being watered down and replaced.
Yes.
So how do you got, Johnny, especially being one of the key culture bearers, people who are trying to continue that, how concerned are you about that? And what Jam Nola is trying to do to emphasize local culture and local artists to kind of thwart those kinds of efforts and fears.
Yeah, actually preserving local culture is one of the things that we're about. That's why we're supporting MACNO right now during December. We really believe in the cultural economy of the city, and not just preserving but growing it. And we only will have local artists create anything in Jam Nola. Everything we're doing, it's like we've I'm an older person that created this in my life with this mission of really supporting artists. So
So what was the motivation? There was something that you had to see, a moment in time, a thought, some concern, right? Where you say, hold on a second, I don't know, if this is heading in the right direction. You remember that?
Yeah, a lot of it has to just do with the fact that I saw a hole in our city that had an opportunity to create something that was totally designed to bring attention to young and upcoming artists that are all local. And we basically have this mission. It's what we do. We don't want to just have them put an installation in and walk away. We want to actually support them, especially culture bearers as well. We work with oh my goodness, I'm working with Sharice Harrison Nelson has a piece in Jam Nola. We're working with Gina Montana on our new exhibit. It's incredible what we're doing with her. But I believe, in these young up-and-coming artists and discovering them and supporting them, and also to work with our culture bearers to protect and preserve the traditions, that I'm still learning about. I learn new things every day about this amazing city we're in.
So what is the most noticeable thing that you want visitors to get, or what can they expect?
Well, first of all, we are a lot of tourists. We have a wonderful locals program, but we're a tourist first stop or last stop in the city, and they get a little taste of the cultural gems that make New Orleans so special. So they learn about Carnival. They learn about, by the way, they learn about Black Carnival with All on a Mardi Gras Day. They learn about the costumes. They learn about the city. They learn about giving back. We one of our missions is giving back. So we offer a lot of different ways that they can donate money to help the Roots of Music Marching Band, to help the Trombone Shorty Foundation, to support MACNO.
So when you talk about culture, and I got to do this because I always, it's not just second line music, jazz, and traditional New Orleans. There's a whole nother part of New Orleans culture, right? That kids we used to sing on the corner. Oh, Liza, Liza Jane. Oh, Liza. I saw your mama, she was in a tree. Liza Jane.
Sound better than me.
Romeo. I'm a Romeo man.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the captain and the dirty hound, I'd have broke out of Scotland before the sun went down. Choo-choo-chee rumbo, a chicken and a gumbo. Is there any effort to revive those old traditional street songs that people
you know what?
sing on the corner?
Or even the children who do the street.
Yeah, I don't know about
right?
the
That's
children
that's
as much.
part of
I know what
New
you're
Orleans,
talking
yes.
about. I know that so I know Macno, who we're
Mhm.
supporting
Right.
this month. They actually part of what they do is support and preserve the whole street musician people on the streets experience. So I the only part of that I know is to support through those guys. But and they're a fantastic organization. They got a lot of New Orleans musicians supporting it, but they totally are there to preserve and support street musicians. I'm not sure about the children.
And I'm just saying because the culture is
Yeah,
deep,
because
right?
that's what-
the
that's-
kids, we would sing
the
those
kid-
songs.
that's-
By the way, you
all
tell me how we can help
It's
help the
like
kids on the
posting
streets.
in the
So
Yeah.
I was just thinking maybe it
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
like a
The drum.
live
And that's how you learn your
exhibition.
music, right?
Yeah.
Growing
Like
up,
a
yeah.
live exhibition of that is
I
natural
love
in New
that
Orleans.
idea.
Like
Well, listen,
there are
yeah.
kids who could beat a bucket
Mhm.
better than any drum
Absolutely.
set that you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I mean that's talent. And it's innate talent. Nobody trained them. Nobody taught. They just pick up sticks and they just do what naturally feels good to them.
Yeah, that's a
And
great yeah.
I'm just suggesting, you
No,
know, like,
Dr. Y, it's already now. I'm gonna put in my notes and figure out that we support.
yeah.
Queen Reese. We actually support her
Yeah.
kids. She has the Young Guardians of the Flame.
Yeah, because
Yes.
New
And
Orleans
they're,
authenticity, right, is
yes.
it's not just what we see, with our worldwide famous second line groups and jazz
Yes.
bands have. It is those kids with those sticks.
Yes.
Right. I remember that
Yeah.
as a kid.
with the bucket down there.
That's
Yes.
absolutely correct.
You have to
yeah.
see it. It's
In the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's so crazy because then it becomes one kid doing it, and then if another kid sees them, they join in, and it becomes a whole.
And those old traditional street songs. Man,
Yes.
So I wonder how you help them. Give them some instruments or something, right? Or
Yes.
some little like that. By the way, drumsticks make a difference,
Mhm.
right? Whatever.
But
don't know.
I
I'm
believe
gonna-
if you even give them
I
a
will-
drum
I'll
set,
actually-
Johnny, they still would prefer the bucket and the
Yeah,
stick
yeah,
because
yeah.
it makes a sound. It reverberates in a way that a drum set
Yeah.
does not.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's to me, that's
you're
that's
right.
New
Yeah, I'd
Orleans.
like to see y'all
it's the spirit of New Orleans.
I will.
Yeah.
I promise you I will, and I'll get back to you
Yeah.
guys. Believe me.
No bliss with
That's
Johnny
my-
Liz. No doubt about it. So when you talk about fundraising, right?
Yeah.
How do we continue this, and how important it is because it ain't free, right?
No, it ain't free. It was, and we believe not just we believe in not just giving money away, but actually figuring out ways to raise money. So part of what we do at JAM is we create ways to do it. So for instance, we did it with we had Big Frida select a charity in June during Pride, which was PFLAG, and we ended up giving $1 from every ticket sale. So that's something we can do that creates, so come in with us and we'll donate something. We have a way, if you have a charity organization, that you can take Jam NOLA over on a day we're closed, like a Tuesday or Wednesday. You promote it all yourself, and we give all everything back, actually. We don't take anything. We like to create ways that different charity organizations can make money, and we like to support organizations that really need the money. There's some big charities, that I feel like.
No, I was saying
We got a caller. Let's go to the line
call.
right
All
now,
right,
man.
Uh-oh. You got an idea?
And 504-582-9422, Jam NOLA, Johnny Liss in the studio. Big Don, talk to us, man, all the way from Houston.
Yeah, sure. Good morning. And it's a difference in knowing the price of everything, but the value of nothing. Good morning,
Who
OT.
want a bell?
Dr. Ryan, you
Don get bells.
Johnny, hey, brother Johnny.
Yes.
And I remember quickly years ago, back in the '80s, I was living out there on the left coast, and had 5 other roommates, and everybody was doing their own thing, as far as eating. And so at that time, leg quarters was like 8 cents a pound. So a 10-pound bag was 80 cents. So when I went to OT, when I put them red beans and rice on and fried that chicken up, and them dudes say, man, can I buy this, get some of that chicken or what? Yeah, man, $2, you know what I'm saying? But I had to organize that thing. I just showed them, I just couldn't just beat the pots and pans. I knew how to put something in them. And the same thing with that bucket, Dr. Y. So you got to be able to use that bucket to mop those floors and wash those floors, and then flip it over and play the drum.
Yes,
and what I'm getting at is we have to teach I heard somebody say that they didn't know how to sew. That's an insult to me. If you're from New Orleans, you don't know how to sew. At least put a hem in your pants or a skirt. So the home economics portion of the culture, the value of the culture is one thing. But put a price on learning those skills that we take for granted.
Yes.
How to strip and wax a flow, how to tape and float, how to, you know what I'm saying, measure a tape and measure what you need to cut, measure twice, cut once. So, and that is a viable way of supporting yourself and your family and your community to where those grants can be used to enrich the community and not just necessarily depending on those grants that the culture gets, if that makes sense. Thank you this morning.
And to Don's point, talking about put a price on the culture, there should be more of a price in terms of the way, how easily we sell it, right? We welcome folk in to pillage from the culture, and rarely does the city or the culture bearer receive any real return on allowing them to come in. I've seen folks come here and photograph our folk, and they selling prints all over the place, right? Making boatloads of money, and our culture bearers still struggling between paying the lights and putting food on their table. That's the way we have to start protecting the beauty that is New Orleans. If you're gonna come here and you're going to like want to immerse yourself in something, there has to be a give back component to be here and to take from us without giving nothing in return. There has to be a give back component.
100%, Dr. Y. In fact, I can't go into all of it, but we're working on a project for the new Jam NOLA with our culture bearers that are going to that they're going to give back and keep everything. We're working on something that's going to give them the ability to do just what you said, not have someone else sell something that represents them or is taking from them, but actually is going to directly give them a benefit.
I appreciate that.
And it's going to be part of our new gift shop, and we're working with some amazing culture bearers on it. So it's right exactly.
Because before we go to break, let me just say this, because I can remember, you might remember this as well. Cameron, the rapper, somebody took a photo of him and his pink, attire, and they were selling the photo. Cameron tried to sue the guy, countersued, and won because it was his photo. He beat the artist. Like the art, that's the art. He took a picture of Cameron and sued Cameron because Cameron tried to use the picture on his album cover. It was his picture. The courts went against him. It's like, well, who gave you permission to take my picture and then profit from it and I get nothing in return? I don't want that to happen here with our culture bearers.
I'm with you.
And Cam, one of my favorite young brothers. Yeah. I love watching him and Mace and listening to him. But hey, look, we're going to take our break. We'll be back with Johnny Liss, co-founder of Jam NOLA, and Dr. Wyatt, man. OT, the early bird on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking about.
Whose station?
That's Johnny's station.
It's Johnny's station.
He got coupons,
now.
WBOK.
Johnny's station right now.
Yeah.
It's my new morning station.
We'll be back, guys.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
It's a WDSU first warning weather impact day because of fog. We're under a dense fog advisory as visibility this morning will dip to less than a mile. After the fog clears, expect partly cloudy skies with highs in the mid-70s. A cold front moves in later. We could see a few showers with that. Lows for tonight dip into the low 50s and then highs for Thursday into the mid-60s. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Rishon.
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Delgado Community College offers programs in business, technology, health sciences, and the arts with over 100 career-focused degrees and certificates that are affordable, flexible, and transferable. We can give you the knowledge and skills to succeed. Start your post-high school education at Delgado or let us help you advance your career. Spring registration is Wednesday, December 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the City Park campus, the West Bank campus, or the Sidney Collier site. Visit dcc.edu to learn more.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Keep up with NOLA Public Schools through Education Elevation. Education Elevation will highlight the achievements, innovations, and contributions of scholars, educators, schools, and the district. Tune in every fourth Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. for engaging conversations and updates as we strengthen connections and support the needs of our scholars. Mark your calendars for every fourth Wednesday at 11:30 a.m.
Hi. This is Leo Jackson, your Sunday gospel announcer, wishing you happy holidays.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Brian Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back, New Orleans. This is WBOK 1230 AM. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Oliver had to go handle some big business, so he left the little business to me. I'm in studio with Johnny List, co-founder of Jam NOLA. My super producer, Nyron Sanders, is behind the glass, along with our GM, Justin. We're all in the building today with you. So, Johnny, we were talking about off air, we were talking about like the repurposing of certain things to help make some of the exhibits. Talk to us about, you're in a new space. It's a former bakery.
Yes.
And you are repurposing the pans from the bakery.
Yeah, it's our artists always go above and beyond, and when we talk to them about an idea, but we want to pay homage to this amazing bakery that's part of the history of the city on Frenchman Street. Yeah. And so we've asked our artists to do as much repurposing, recycling of materials to create things. So what I just showed you was this alligator, this giant alligator I gave you the teaser of. Actually, the skin of the alligator is being made of the bakery pans, and so which is a little crazy. So we've literally had people soldering the old pans and then sticking them on, and almost, I want to say more than 90% of the new exhibits or we're calling them environments of the new Jam NOLA are going to have some type of repurposed, recycled material, almost like people's garbage is being turned into strips. We partner with a company called Rick Rack, that works with recycled clothing and materials. And what we've done is they're a nonprofit. We're donating to them, and they're literally having volunteers create strips from old clothing, and that's what's going to be the canopies of this giant tree of lights that we have. So anything that can be repurposed, recycled, upcycled, we're doing it.
Listen, so that sounds like a sneak peek. So are there any other sneak peeks that you can share with us without giving us too much? Because we want the folk to come and get a ticket and immerse themselves into the whole experience of it all. But any sneak peeks?
Yeah, I can give you another sneak peek. There's oh my God, there's a room called the Speakeasy, but it's not like the Speakeasy as the bar. Well, it will be a little bar, but it's not the Speakeasy like a bar.
Okay.
It's a play on Nolanacular, right? So Mom and M and
oh, now that's fun.
Tapatula and like, and we've got this great person we work with, Ro, who's actually putting together all the different spoken word and all these different NOLA isms. I don't know what do you call them, a Nolanacular maybe? I don't know.
That's what it is.
But and you know, everything from Creole to Cajun to, and we're actually going to record them. You're going to walk into this room and the words are going to be written like graffiti, literally like across the room.
So when you have folk who are we have folk who are coming in, listen, and it's so that was a comment on social media the other day. They were asking folk in New Orleans, why do you say making groceries instead of like going to purchase groceries?
Yeah.
But if they understand the history of like where the city comes from, they will get the connection.
Yes.
But I think it's also fun, you know, maybe you give them $1 off or something if they can spell Chapatula. So if they come through the door.
By the way, maybe give them more than $1, right? Right? That would be awesome. But we have like neutral ground and where you at and bra, and, you know, bebe, lanyap, you know, who dat. Just if you're out there, just make a list of what you think the funniest we're not the funniest, but just words that just are our culture, right?
Just us,
to teach somebody and make them smile when they hear it, you know?
Because I think, you know, there's another thing folk play with us about here in the city is they say, why y'all ask questions and answer them at the same time? Yeah. Like, we do that, but you don't even notice that you're doing it because it's like so ingrained in you. But I think, you know, fun things like that, I am absolutely looking forward to going to Jam NOLA. I think about my son is home for break, so I want to bring him, and I have a 3-year-old godson that is going to absolutely love going into Jam NOLA. So I'm excited about participating in there. And I think I
told you I'll give you a VIP tour.
Listen, I'm coming. Listen, I don't turn down no good time now. But I think what you're doing there and what speaks to my heart is making certain that we protect the culture that is New Orleans, preserve the culture that is New Orleans, and then center the people who make the culture possible here in New Orleans. Because, you know, I always tell people, if you watch the movie, ain't nobody come to see you, Otis, right? They're not coming here to see knockoff versions of the city. People love this city because when they come here, it's an authentic vibe that you can't replicate anywhere else, right?
Absolutely.
And as much for all of our scars that we have in terms of a city, this is a beautiful, unique, exceptional place, and there's no other place like it. Right. We're talking about people who can turn pans, right, into art pieces, into right? Art, we're talking about people who could take a few words and make a hit song. You don't even have to have enough. Listen to bounce music. It's not a lot of words. It's 5 or 6 words recycled, and it's going viral, right? Because it's the energy behind it. It is something here. I don't know if it's in the water, you know, I don't know if it's in the air, but there's something here that when you come here, you don't want to leave here. You make New Orleans your home. But what I love that you're doing there is you're not trying to reinvent her. You're trying to take her just as she is and put her up so people can see. And that's what I love about what you're doing at Jam NOLA, because nobody comes to get the generic version of New Orleans. People want that real authentic.
I was just going to say the word authentic.
Touching New Orleans.
It's authenticity, I think. There's something that made us so special in the hearts of people that I never imagined 4 years after we get out of the pandemic that we would be one of the cultural gems of the city. And it's what you just said, authentic. Yeah, there's
because you were cultivating what was already here. You weren't trying to reimagine her. You weren't trying to make her some cookie cutter version of herself. You took all of what is beautiful about the city, you put it into a space, and you let people, you know, take part in it. And I think that to me is a winner.
Yeah, and we build on it. In fact, we actually been creating these cultural ambassadors, or not cultural, I'm sorry, jam ambassadors. One is a culture ambassador, one is a Colin and Kat are music are art ambassadors. Jelly Joseph, you know,
Jelly,
she's our music ambassador.
Jelly, yes.
We have I'm the joy ambassador, I guess.
Well, listen, that is a perfect role for you. Like that is a perfect role for you. But I want, you know, in the last few minutes before I have to close out the show, I want you to talk to people about because you're moving to a new location. Yes. Tell them about our the WBOK coupon that they can use.
You got it.
How to get tickets, that they should come and experience this. I don't even know. It's an interactive exhibit.
Yeah, I don't know what to call. We call it a cultural funhouse experience.
It's an experience.
The museum's a little old-fashioned.
Yes,
I'm not
it
sure.
is.
I'm not sure.
Right.
But I would say come down to Jam NOLA before we close in January. It's an hour of joy. You can really learn about the culture of our city and have a lot of fun and get some great photo ops out of it. And this month especially, you can support the cultural economy of our city by supporting MACNO. Because we're donating $1 from every ticket sold, and we're going to give a nice check to them at the end of the month. We have beautiful charity shirts with the Roots of Music Marching Band and with the Trombone Shorty Foundation, and we have a special discount that you're hearing right now on the radio.
Yes.
If you put into the coupon code online WBOK, you're going to get 20% off any ticket that you purchase through Christmas Eve. So it's a great Christmas present for you to get to anybody, and just come down and enjoy.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. If you want to go to Jam NOLA by Christmas Eve, you can use coupon code WBOK and get 20% off. I want to give a shout out to all of our guests this morning, our Councilman Eugene Green with our Conversations with the Council series, and Johnny List from over at Jam NOLA, and all of our listening audience and callers. Thank you for making this show super special. We always have real authentic talk here on WBOK. So until next time, stay with us right here. The Front Porch is up next with Graylin and Kimber. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. I'm Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. This is WBOK 1230 AM. Happy holidays.